How we doing today, guys? It's Jesse with the Common Man, Corpus Christi, your CBD guy. We are here with Neely Balko today. He's running for District 1 City Council. He's going to tell you a little bit about himself and why you should vote for him. Neely?
Hey everybody, like Jesse said, my name is Neely Balko. I'm one of the candidates for Corpus Christi City Council for District 1. I was born and raised out in the Calallen area, went there from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, left for a while to go to school and came back. Moved to the downtown area, lived there for a few years, and currently live out in Calallen with my wife and our two daughters. Still work downtown, and so I feel like I have a pretty unique perspective of all the candidates for what's going on with District 1. It's a really big, diverse district. We're talking all the way from County Road 73 all the way down to the water. So that's downtown, North Beach, Annandale, Calallen. And so we have a lot of different things going on, a lot of different projects that are happening in the area. For me, a big part of the reason why I decided to run was I wanted to make sure that we had a candidate who understood all these different areas and understood all the people. We have things like the Northwest Boulevard development project that's coming in. We have things like the North Beach Canal that people are talking about. Downtown's doing really, really great. We have a lot of private, public entities that are taking a look at that and working to revitalize the area. And so I just wanted to make sure we had somebody who had, a good finger on the pulse of all the different people living in the area. I really believe that being transparent and, trying to listen to people, trying to be a voice for them is very important to me and very important to my campaign. And so that's part of the reason why I'm running. So I turn it over to Jesse if he's got any questions for me. I'm happy to answer them. Like I said, just want to be as open and transparent through this process as possible.
So what do you think some of your experience throughout the city and being a longtime resident here and everything else, what kind of things like that do you think help prepare you for being on the city council, kind of things in your past?
Yeah, I look at things like Leopard, out in Annandale, and I look at all the medians when they came in. I mean, I remember back when those things were turning lanes and all those kinds of things. I look at the vegetation, I look at these kinds of things, and I think to myself, okay, if we're planning long term, if we're trying to make a big picture approach to these things, I've seen some of the drawings and some of the ideas for Northwest Boulevard, 624 as I call it because I'm an old fart. I see all these beautiful big trees and shade and all these kinds of things, and I think that's a great idea. But I also realize that the reality of it is we're not always going to be able to get people out there to maintain these things. We're not always going to have the resources to get people out there to take care of it. And so, I was telling somebody yesterday when I was out block walking, I'd rather have something be kind of pretty for a very, very long time as opposed to something being really, really pretty for a couple months. And so I want to make sure that we take that long-term approach. Let's talk about some native vegetation. Let's talk about things that are going to survive, that don't need a lot of maintenance, that we don't have to worry about because, we only have so many resources in the city, right? And I want to make sure that we're using them efficiently and that we're using them in a way that it benefits everybody. And so I want to make sure that whenever we have these projects, that they're projects that work for the people in the area that they're going to, not necessarily something that is somebody's idea that sounds great, but the reality of it doesn't always end up being, the way that they talk about.
That makes sense, absolutely. So I know you've got a pretty long-standing professional history. Is there any of that kind of stuff that you'd like to take, that you're going to take into city council, some of the things you've learned in your professional career?
Sure. Yeah. One of the interesting things being an attorney, it's obviously a customer service based industry. It's not something that you can survive doing if you don't listen to people. And that's a big thing for me. I probably check my phone for emails and phone calls and texts dozens and dozens of times a day. You can ask my wife. And so that's something I really want to bring to council. The shutdown has really kind of brought some interesting developments when it comes to public outreach. I know a lot of people are upset about the 1 minute time limit whenever it comes to city council. I agree that needs to be lengthened back out to the 3 minutes. But one good thing that's happened is, we do have now the ability for people to email in questions, to call in questions for public comment, things like that. So I'd like to keep those things available for people who maybe can't make it in the middle of the day, on Tuesdays for city council meetings. but that's something I really want to bring. If I am elected, I really want to make sure that people feel like they're heard. The very first thing I posted after running for office was I might not always vote the way you want or do the things that you want, but I'm always going to listen to everybody and everybody's perspective and try to give everybody a fair shake, because at the end of the day, if I am elected, I'm your representative, and so I want to listen, and I want to try to listen to the community and make sure that we're all trying to work towards making Corpus a better place. Part of my experience in the past as an attorney is I have worked with the city of Corpus, defending police officers in excessive force cases and things like that. And I think that's part of the reason why I did receive their endorsement from the Police Officers Association. Also received the endorsement of the Professional Firefighters Association here in town. And, public safety is a big thing for me. We talk about downtown and we talk about public safety and we talk about police officers. People don't want to bring their businesses into an area if they don't feel like people feel safe and if they don't feel like they can, effectively do business in the area. And so I think having more police officers so that they feel safer is always a big thing, for bringing in new business and things like that. And especially out in Calallen, we've had a couple of, interesting happenings over the past couple months. And, we put our police officers in really difficult positions. They have to make a lot of difficult decisions and judgment calls. And, Corpus keeps growing out and further and further and further. And so these police officers, they have a long ways to go. And, if they're getting a call for something that's potentially dangerous or violent, they know that there might not be backup for 10, 15, 20 minutes away. And, I've seen the body cam footage and the dash cam footage from police officers in these situations. And, asking them to make these judgment calls is very, very difficult. And people's mindsets change very, very drastically if they know that backup's not going to be there for 10 or 15 minutes. Your whole critical thinking process, decision-making process is entirely different. For me, that's something that I really, really want to work on if I am elected, is making sure that we have enough police officers so that our community can feel safe. We're only growing bigger and bigger and bigger. A big reason why I've run is I think that industry, not just in Nueces County and Corpus, but San Pat and all these different surrounding areas, we're going to have a lot of people moving into this area soon. And so if we don't start addressing these problems now and taking a proactive instead of a reactive approach, I worry about where things are going to be in 10 or 15 years. And so I really just want to start taking a look at things and start planning ahead so that we don't look up in 10 years and say, oh, well, why didn't we start thinking about this stuff? I tell people if I'm elected, I plan on living and dying here for the rest of my life. And so if I make bad decisions or anything like that, I got to live with it for the next 30 or 40 years. And so I just really want to make Corpus a great place to raise a family, especially out in my area in Calallen. I think a lot of people move out there because it has that, small town suburban feel. And so I want to make sure that we don't lose that whenever we bring in all these new people and bring in all this new business and, new industries and things like that. But at the same time, we do have to take an approach where we plan for the future. People are going to come here no matter what we do. And so we just need to be ready for that and take a long-term, big picture approach.
Awesome. All right, Neely, what's the best place to get a hold of you if people have more questions, if they want to follow up with you or help maybe reach out with your campaign or something like that?
Sure. So you can find me on Facebook, just Neely Balko for Corpus Christi City Council District 1. You can also go to my website, www.electneelybalko.com. Any questions, anything like that, you can find me on Facebook Messenger, or you can email me at electneelybalko@gmail.com. Like I said, really trying to be as open and transparent during this process as possible. So anybody who emails me, messages me, anything like that, I'm happy to answer any questions. I will be having a early voting kickoff / meet and greet at A1 Steaks and Seafood out in Calallen on October 12th from 5 to 7. So if anybody wants to come out and meet me personally, they're more than welcome to do that too.
Awesome. Thanks, Neely.
Yep. Thanks.